The October 4th, 2022 meeting of the West Haven ARPA Committee will now come to order. Will each member, paid professional, and city official please state your name for the record? We'll start over here.
Iris Diaz.
Gary Perna.
Doug Coulter.
Dwight Knowles.
Ken Carney.
David Rudberg, Carmody Torrance, Sandak, and Hennessy, Council Committee.
Ken Ferris.
Mike Glass.
Rohan Smith.
Chris Borstein.
And we'd like to show that we have the chair of the city council here. We have Councilman Ron Quagliani, and we've got UHY represented by Keegan, and Jack Regan just called me and asked me to call him to join the meeting. Let me get him on the phone here. Okay, I got you on speaker here. Okay, can you hear us?
I got you.
Okay. Each member has received a copy of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Any proposed changes to the agenda? Okay, the agenda stands. Moving on here. The chair will now ask the clerk to paraphrase the minutes from the September 6, 2022 regular meeting. Don't use last names, and just to give us a brief overview. Go ahead.
September 6, 2022, 5:45 p.m. Committee members: Ken, Mike, Neil, myself, Dwight, Iris, Ken, Chris, Rohan, Gary. Absent, Neil. In attendance, Pete Massaro, Ron Quagliani, David Grud, Doug, Jack, Keegan. Approval of agenda for September 6th. Under new business, from the Fire Department Center Fire Districts, approved. Approval of meeting minutes for August 2nd, approved. Chairman's report. Invest in West Haven. ARPA Committee's slogan, Invest in West Haven. Monthly meeting may not be enough. Chairman Carney may email committee members for them to vote on certain issues. All votes will be presented at the next meeting. The role of the ARPA Committee is total transparency. All ARPA funds approved through the City Council must be administered by the ARPA Committee. The ARPA Committee allows for every invoice and every action to be administered in public. No ARPA funds will be spent outside of the ARPA Committee. Transparency will avoid a Cohen-Resnick type audit. No objections. The ARPA website is up and running and linked to the city website. Architectural LLC Arts Center design proposal approved. August 22nd, City Council update. The completion of sidewalks before school started. Invoice approval. Carmody, 523291 in the amount of $18,990, approved by Gary and Ken. Item number 2022-001, UHY, invoice number 630405125 in the amount of $26,697, approved Mike and Ken. Child Development Center roof, contract to be signed this week. Parks Fund, report from Doug Coulter on applications. Reviewed the spreadsheet with the committee for 35 parks. Reviewed the old boathouse building project. Food Bank, review of all applications have applicants come in. Johnson Senior Center, the project is in contract negotiation. DPW paving, 100% completed. Officially moved the funds from ARPA accounting to Public Works. Stormwater management, feasibility study is out on the street and extended until the 20th. Stormwater management capital fund. Item number 2022-09, stormwater management vacuum truck. Sanitary Equipment Company in the amount of $502,049.98. Approved. Stormwater Management Problem Areas, update on meeting with engineer. Recycling and Reuse Center, report from Doug Coulter. The award was given to the engineer. The project for the Elm City Materials invoice, all approved. The additional work at Seth Haley, motion was approved. Broadband access. Flyer for the Digital Navigator program approved. City Hall windows, no word from Hoffman. Boardwalk monitoring cameras. Chairman Carney will get back to the committee on the project. Police Retention Fund, motion to approve the transfer of $2.4 million from the ARPA fund to the police station for police retention. Rohan Smith, approved. Second by Iris. Youth Employment Fund, awaiting backup from Matt. Painter Park Fieldhouse, Russell and Dawson proposal for design and CA work for $59,000, approved. Premium pay for EMS. Fire districts discuss the tree warden and parks purchase of a laptop for opera use. Approved. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, are there any proposed changes to the minutes? Anyone? Do you have a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I got Iris and Gary. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on, general report. We've moved a lot of things down the field here, which you'll hear about in a few moments. We've got several contracts that have either been approved by our attorney and the vendor. Some have gone to MARB, some don't have to go to MARB, so you'll see that in a few moments. The ARPA website is being updated by UHY. If you go to page 11, you will see a summary of all of the contracts and where they stand, and I'll go through those in greater detail as I go through the list tonight. But most of our large ticket items are under contract and in design, so we're moving ahead. Okay, so we feel good about that. September 12th, 2022, I went before the City Council, and there was a request that the City Council approved. It was for the purchase of gas masks, 16 units for the police. The existing masks that they have are ill-fitting. They're very old, they're falling apart. That expenditure came to $49,362.11. So Keegan, we want to put that in the paid category, take it out of contingency. The other requests were bulletproof vests for the fire department, EMT, first responders, and that allows them to attend to a victim who's bleeding while there's an active shooter. And I believe we got 24 of those vests, or I forget the number, but or maybe 16. But that came to $48,225. That's an approved expenditure, and it is to come out of contingency. Okay, so you've got my packet, Keegan, and you can see that, okay? Any questions on that from anybody? Okay. Moving on, we got the project list. So I've been working off a list here, which was sent to me today by Keegan. And it shows the project name, the project number, how much is allocated for that project, and then how much has been spent to date. Now, the latest list on the bottom has reserved or proposed projects, and those projects have changed description from last month. And I want to remind everybody that no projects change description and no new projects come in unless the council feeds it to us. So you can't put on this sheet projects that we never heard of before, like College Street is on here. I'm not saying these are unimportant. Yeah.
Wrong sheet.
All right, well, they got distributed.
These
Okay.
are not, this is an internal document that's mistakenly published.
All right, well,
This should not have been
All right,
presented to you.
all right, I appreciate that, but I
Please
want,
ignore these projects. They are in discussion about being brought to the council for appropriation.
it's also made on our website, is what I understand.
All right, so we could take that down and apologize for the errors.
So here's what I'm looking for, and it's been a little bit of a challenge. And Jack, you can hear me, right?
I got you.
All right, I'm looking for a document that has all the facts in all real time, what the council has approved and what we've spent. And it can't be littered with additional requests the council hasn't approved, things we want, or
I think
how
it's
to change things.
I think it's a simple error. We gave them two spreadsheets that look very much alike.
Do you have another spreadsheet that looks like this, that has the proper information?
Not
The
that
support
one.
document that generated that, I have two versions of it. I just-
Yeah.
All right.
He just
Please-
inadvertently
All
chose
right,
the wrong
se-
version.
Send me the
We'll
proper
get it
version, but
corrected.
I want that to be the gold standard going forward, because we can all refer to one document as to what's been approved by the city council
Yep.
and what we've spent going forward, right? So I think I can use the upper part of this, right?
The upper part of it is factual
Okay.
to the actual appropriations.
And that's what we'll
from-
do. We'll
Yeah.
use the upper part.
Now, with the reservation that some of these things were set aside and the council asked for additional information, such as the aid to small business program.
Right,
They have not to date seen that program because the mayor has not released it to them.
okay. All right. So we're all on the same page.
Right, so we're not able to spend any money on that until we go back.
All right, the first thing I've got for you is the CARES Act Financial Management. I've got an invoice here from Carmody for 524841. Now, this invoice is in the amount of $23,940, and let me say this to you. This represents the negotiation of several contracts that you can see on page 11. And what I've asked them to do is to create standard contracts, so going forward, when we meet with a vendor, we hand them the city contract, and we avoid all of the negotiation time on a custom contract every time we engage a design professional or vendor. So I think your office is close to releasing those?
Correct, yeah. My partner, Mark Malaspina, who's been the individual who's done the vast majority of that work, is coming up with standard contracts that can be used that I think will greatly increase efficiency going forward. So we're not in the position of getting a proposed contract from a professional or vendor, having to push back, go back and forth in negotiation. Ideally, down the road, the process will be, here's our standard contract.
Very good.
And I think that'll streamline things greatly.
All right, so with that, page 14 of your booklet and page 15 describes the many hours that were spent negotiating these contracts. And the invoice comes to $23,940. Do I have a motion to approve this invoice for payment?
So moved.
Okay, I've got Mike. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have Dwight. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a UHY Advisors invoice, number 630405535, in the amount of $33,850. Now, this one represents work inside City Hall on an hourly basis, and that can be located on page 19, 20, and 21, and 22. Am I understanding that that work has been reduced, Doug?
Well, we're working through the initial setup of all the tracking systems and how we're going to file things for future audit proofing. And I think we've gotten to the point now where we can manage the weekly inflow in one day of his on-site time.
Because you've done all the setup and all the back
All
work
the setup
behind the
is, I
scenes.
think
Okay.
we're past that. We're just about past it. So I
Okay.
think we've come to an understanding with UHY that we can reduce the time on site and this expense.
And Keegan, do
Doesn't need
you
to
agree with that?
continue.
Okay, good. All right, so do I have a motion to accept invoice number 630405535?
Motion.
That's Dwight. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ken Ferris. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, let's start with the child development. We'll run down this list as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Would you be able to rearrange the PTA has to get out of here in 15 minutes?
Where does is the high school, you mean?
Are you okay? All right.
You guys okay back there?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You're up first, by the way, so. All right, so moving on, child development roof, that contract's been finalized, and that design has started. There's going to be a meeting between Antonazzi and facilitated by Doug at the location to redo the roof with the proper insulation. It'll have solar panels in the anticipation of future new RTUs. Parks Fund. What we've done here, if you go to page, let me find it. Go to page 23 of 70 in your booklet. What we've done is we've created a checklist of every single thing that a park could possibly need. We have two city officials, employees, Ernie and Leo, going out, visiting the parks, and they're checking off the list based on their discovery and inspection. And then they write the hours down that they worked, which I believe, Jack, will suit your needs for record keeping, the hours that they worked at each and every park. Once we get all those back, we will evaluate those and see what kind of money we need to give each park to meet the wishes of the council here on the expenditure.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
Now, you got this list of things that we feel that they could be used, but at the same time, what about, is it going to be used? Who's using it? And is it enough people using it to warrant this kind of cost, expenditure?
I think that discussion is going to come in after we see what these parks need. I think we need to identify, you're talking, I thought there were 18, they're telling me there's 39 now. I mean, I think we need to identify where these things, what state they're in, and then go from there.
Okay.
All right? So that's the checklist. Any questions on that? All right, we do have a request from Ernie to purchase an iPad, and UHY tells me that that is an acceptable expense, so they'd be able to go out to the park with the iPad, take pictures, support the checklist with the pictures, put their notes on the iPad. Right now, they're doing it by hand on a piece of paper. An iPad would be, it would serve them much better. So Jack, I'm just going to confirm an iPad is acceptable expenditure under the funds, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so with that, do I have I think we've got a quote.
You've already just proved it, just last
We
week.
approved it?
No, that was for a laptop for the office.
Yeah.
So you want to change this to a tablet-type computer instead of brand-specific. We don't
All
buy
right, so
Apple products.
we'll say a tablet versus an iPad, and
Yeah.
I think we're at 500, if you go to page 24, we're $544, and then there's an access charge of 40, is that correct? All right, do I have,
That's a recurring access charge.
correct, yep. All right, do we have a motion to accept the tablet expense for the parks study?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a first, Ken, a second. Any discussion?
One question.
Yes, sir.
We approved a laptop last week, right?
Yes,
And now we're approving an iPad.
correct. The iPad can go in the field, it can work on cellular, and it can take pictures. None of that is good for the laptop.
Okay,
Laptop's in the office.
okay. And a notepad can't do both?
What was that?
A notepad cannot do both?
I don't think with the system that we have in place now, I think we need an actual laptop to use the printers and be part of the system, and then we need a mobile device going out. That's what I'm being told. I think seems reasonable.
So, just a technical point,
Yep.
you'd be authorizing the IT director to
Yeah, of
purchase this
course.
laptop.
Yeah, the IT department runs all that for the city of West Haven. So, okay. All right, any other discussion?
And that'll be
Second.
used on other projects, once the parks are done, we'll pass it on and use it on other,
Yeah.
other ARPA
Sure.
projects, I would think.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
who's the second?
Ken Ferris.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, Doug, very briefly, give us an update on the park, any other park requests or applications that you've received.
So I think that the input from the citizens helped give an idea of where to go look first, and they're parsing out what's viable right now, but I think they're also decided to canvass all of them themselves, the two project managers we have, and to make sure we're doing a comprehensive list and a comprehensive overview, so that when it gets to ranking and priority, we'll have the entire picture.
Okay.
And then we'll also be able to know which ones were brought to our attention by the residents in the area. I think that the Commissioner of Public Works wants a chance to vet them all against future budget burden as well, and he'll have his say about that at the time.
All right, so when the information comes in, we'll have additional comments. Very good. Any questions for Doug on that, anybody?
And real general, and
Yeah.
then how are we going to prioritize if there's 39 parks, do we have a system where we're going to prioritize the
Yeah.
projects?
You know, Mike, my thought is that we have to see what the needs are of each park first, and maybe the least expenditures go first, you get the most done. Maybe preventive maintenance goes, I don't know. We have to wait till we get the reports in my opinion.
Okay, well, we'll have that discussion
Oh, yeah.
at that point.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
We have
Yeah,
another
but-
councilman member here.
Yes, we do. Councilwoman Bridget Hosky's here. She'll let the record show.
Oh, does that mean I have to say something?
No. No. We're glad you're here. All right, moving on to food bank. So I've got some interview questions. Let's pass these all out. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking we're going to do. We're going to interview the, is it 5 applicants? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 applicants. We're asking the 5 applicants all the same questions. Each member will score their responses. We'll go into executive session, and we'll discuss the best way to, allocate the funds and how to do it. Okay? Any questions on that before we start? So our first one up is Dana, principal of West Haven High School, representing the Board of Ed. Her application starts on page 28. Hello, Dana, how are you? All right, so you have a food pantry, not a food pantry, but like a closet pantry, right?
Yeah, we call it a pantry, yes.
Tell us what's going on. Well, actually, let me ask you a question. So please provide a brief overview of your organization and its mission.
So our pantry really dates back to 2015, when we did a survey through our attendance committee, when we started noticing a pattern in absences. And what we found is that nearly 20% of the respondents said that they had missed 5 or more school days due to lack of access to really basic things: soap, shampoo, toothpaste, those types of things. So we started a small pantry across from the cafeteria in the old building, where students could get those types of items so that they weren't missing school due to not having just really basic hygiene products. Later on that year, we had a coach come to us and say, I had a player vomiting at a Sunday practice, dry heaving. And when I asked him what was wrong, he said, well, I haven't eaten since school lunch Friday. And the coach said, well, how could that be? He said, there's nothing in my home. So when the coach told us this, we said we have to collect some more information here. We went out, we interviewed students, and we're really shocked at the number of students who listed food insecurity as one of the top 3 problems in their life. And for teenagers, problems are usually things that are very different than that. So we started to add non-perishable food to our pantry. In the new building, we had a great space for this food pantry, so we've worked on expanding it. So we provide non-perishable foods, and we provide hygiene items. Post-pandemic, the need really skyrocketed, so we have a student group, some of the members are here tonight, called Fill a Bag, Fuel a Mind, and they've worked to fundraise and put a pantry at Bailey and Kerrigan. And through their work and the work of the Rotary Club, who've been excellent donors, and some other organizations, both inside and outside of our community, we've been able to, I won't say keep up with demand, but do our best to keep up with demand. At this point, with the poverty rate being around, I think 11% at the last survey in West Haven, and about 20% of families experiencing food insecurity, the number is huge. The number of students that we would have to service to really keep up with demand is large. So we are here tonight requesting some funding to be able to do that.
And the next question says, specifically, how will the funds be spent? I think you've sort of answered that, but go ahead.
So, depending on the amount of money that we were allotted, that kind of looks different. So one of the things we're really looking to do is to be able to put a pantry at each of the elementary schools. One of the things that we find in conversations with students, we collect a lot of anecdotal evidence, and one of the themes that keeps coming up is, sometimes I go to the pantry for myself, but you know what, I'll be fine. But I have to make sure that my younger brother has food, or I have to make sure that younger sister has food. So we're finding that theme coming up more and more, where kids are either, taking for a sibling or saying, can I take two? Can I have one for my sibling? So we really see the need at the elementary level. And if you look at all the data on chronic hunger, what we see is that chronic hunger creates a wide range of really obstacles in the life of a child, learning disabilities, even physical disabilities, anemia, asthma, all those kinds of things are linked to chronic hunger. So we really want to put a pantry in each elementary school. Obviously, we would like to better resource the pantries at Carrigan Bailey and the high school. Toward the end of the month, it's really difficult to keep things in stock because toward the end of the month or the end of a pay cycle, things become very tight at home. I'm sure those of you who are in charge of grocery shopping the family, the inflation right now is really difficult for families that are really operating on a budget. So definitely stocking our pantries more heartily, particularly at those tough times of the month and pay cycle, and creating pantries at the elementary level. If we had, the type of funding that would allow for it, we would also like to look into doing kind of a central hub. We've tossed around the idea of a Malloy school, but we have not spoken to Neil about that, so I don't want to say that for sure, but someplace where parents who work during the day could access food at night, particularly for our youngest students who may not be able to adequately express what the needs are of the family.
So you're thinking 9 pantries in total, and
That's-
possibly Malloy be 10?
That would be the ideal.
And if given additional funds, how many more people do you think you could serve?
We estimate that we service around 300 students now. I think that number would double probably, and probably more. We always run out. So I think the number of families we could service would increase exponentially with us having more ability to do so. The economic state right now that people are facing and the difficulty we're seeing in talking to parents, it's very sad. It's very sad, and it's sad as a parent to be in that situation where this is such an issue for you.
How many students are you servicing what's it costing you to service 300 students a month now?
So it's really hard to say because we go through whatever we get, and a lot of it is, actual food donations, not monetary donations. But I would say we're, in a good month, if we have $2,000 worth of product, that usually will get us through between at least Bailey and the high school. But that's a good month.
Okay. The next question doesn't really apply to you. It says, how can you guarantee these funds will be limited to West Haven residents? And it's obvious they're in the school system. Does anybody else have any questions before I ask the last question?
I do.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, the presumption is that this is for Program E.
Correct.
And so what does it entail to set up a pantry in a new school? Will the funds be used for infrastructure, for storage, for refrigeration, for shelving?
Right now, we do not have refrigerated goods. We only carry non-perishable goods. If we needed to store something that needed to be refrigerated, I think we would be able to do that through our food service. I don't think we'd be looking to set up infrastructure. We have the space, we have the shelving. We're really, outside of the possibility of adding something at Malloy, we're really looking for funding for food, for product.
So the funding would just be used for food? Okay, thank you.
Ken, I have
Yes,
one
go, sir.
question too. The other applications do have a monetary request. Do you have a monetary request of what it would cost to set up 10 pantries or some kind of estimate?
So in our dream world, we're looking at between $3,000 and $5,000 a month for the school year, which would be 10 months. We would love to do something over the summer. Our food service does provide for breakfast and lunch for 5 weeks out of the summer. But if we were able to get, anything we get is going to help us, but in a dream world, we were looking at between $3,000 and $5,000 a month for the 10 months.
So I think we're committed to giving them 100,000. The question is, how do we distribute it? And I guess we have until 26 to spend all the money?
You have until 2024, June of 2024 to commit the funds, and you have to write all checks by June 2026.
So the question is, if we took, go ahead, Jack.
December of this year's.
All right, so it's December of 26, right?
Yeah, December of 26 to spend, December of 2024 to enter into contracts, committing that the funds will be spent.
That's what I thought. So my question to you is this: if we took the available months between now and December of 26, divided it into the 100,000, do you think that would suit your needs?
I think we would be able to service at least double the families we are now.
All right, so
yes.
how many months, Jack, between now and December 26? What's that? 23, 24, 25, it's like 48 months or something? 51?
48 plus 3.
51. So divided by 51. So I'm coming up with
Roughly 2,000 a month.
1960 a month. Now, here's the issue, though. You could say to me or us, we need 2,000 a month between now and December of 26 is good. If you want 3,000 a month, I got to pull it back or go to the council for more money, which I could also do. You know what I'm saying? Ask them. Do you think 1960 a month will do it, or?
I think it would be very helpful. I think, planning for the long term is always smart, so I think, we could definitely work with 2,000 for
All right.
now until the 26th.
And we can always go back to the council and increase that, but Jack, could it be easy as awarding this tonight, which beats the deadline for December 24, and then we just have finance cut a check every month to the fund between now and December 26?
Well, I mean, you'd have to have a contract
Okay.
between the city.
It's a city agency, though. Do we still need a contract?
Oh, it's a city agency.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, as long as you approve that, it should be fine.
And then who do we cut the check to, Dan?
We have an account within the high school that it's through our student activity account. We have an
You
account
put it in the
set up.
student activity account. Is that commingled with other funds? or-
So I believe the actual account is commingled. The account itself exists only on paper. So we would likely have to set up a different account because there's only one main student activity account, and then the accounts within the student activity account exist on Carletta, who is our school comptroller, that they exist on her ledger.
So would you do a separate checkbook, or would you just do a different account within the existing checkbook?
I mean, the easiest thing for us is a existing account that we use, but if we
Right.
had to set up something else, Carletta handles that, and she'd be able to do that.
Doesn't the ARPA committee system require a
An account?
separate account?
Yeah.
And coming back to the council?
Yeah.
To offer with proof?
It might be easiest, Mr. Chairman, just to have it purchased through Rick. And then we'll take the invoices and pay them.
Well, see, I'm concerned about that because if they're given, obviously 1960 doesn't fill the entire hole. If they're given 1960 of funds every month, they can buy the food and the, deodorants and toothpaste and things that you need. To go out and buy that stuff and present receipts every month is going to be like a nightmare, I think. Jack, could it be that we just write up a little synopsis here on a piece of paper? We state the date the ARPA committee approved it. We attach the resolution from the council. We get a letter from the principal saying this is how she's going to spend the money, and she just sends us an update every 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a quarterly update
Yeah.
like that. I think that that's reasonable. We want,
Yeah.
statistics on how many students have been served and all that sort of good stuff to be able to document how the money is being used.
All right, so with that, we're going to approve this motion after executive session, but we'll go in at $19.60 a month between now and December 26. Your responsibility, or someone that you appoint, will have to give us an update every 3 months to keep the records for ARPA, consistent. And I'm going to work to get you a check deposited into that account for $19.60 every month.
Sounds
All
excellent
right?
to me.
Does that work for everybody?
Can I have one question?
Yeah.
Does it make
Doug wants to add some red tape to this. Hold on. Go ahead, Doug.
No, I just wanted to say, does it make sense to do a very simple memorandum of understanding?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. That's, yeah, we talked about that, yeah.
That's signed by both the representative from the ARPA committee and
100%.
the school, and then there would be some kind of reporting
Some condition.
periodically
Yeah.
going through. Now, just one other clarification. The budget for this, for the total project is 400,000?
Well, 100,000 of it is, if you go to page 26, is
Yep.
geared specifically to this project,
Okay.
this part of it.
All right, so the other 400,000 wouldn't be available?
The 300,000.
Okay.
No, unless the council gives us more funds, if there's a request.
I was just wondering
Yeah.
if that money could be moved around a little bit, but it can't.
No, not at this point, no.
Okay.
The way this will work,
Yeah.
in a municipal accounting world, we're not writing them a check. They're going to encumber an account. When the bill comes in, we'll transfer the money from one department to another. So we'll
Right,
work
but she's
that
going to
out.
give you the same bill, the same recurring bill every month.
Correct,
Okay.
but the details don't need to be hashed out here.
Right,
There's
okay.
a whole staff upstairs that does this professionally. We'll figure it out.
Right, bottom line is, I want to get you a check for $19.60 every month. Every 3 months you come in, give us a report, and we're done. All right,
Excellent, thank
everybody
you.
good with that?
Yep.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Bridget would like to know when.
As soon as we pass this. What did she say? I missed that one.
When does that start? When would the first payment go out if?
We approve the motion tonight, I'm going to go see Ricky tomorrow and, try to make this work.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just want to ask her, is this program that they're asking money for fully funded by ARP money?
Yeah, this 1960 is, they have their own $2,000 that they're funding themselves through donations.
Okay.
We're adding to that.
Why I'm asking the question is, and I ask this all the time when it comes to any grant money. Years back, there was an organization in the city that, in one swing of political whims, all right, got $140,000 in one shot and was closed 6 months later.
We're not closing the schools.
So-
Yeah, we're a public school, so there's no shot at us
What I-
closing.
No, but what I'm saying is, it dramatically affected everybody else who was fighting for money. Are you asking for any money from anywhere else, community block grants,
We,
programs, or anything else?
She has in the.
I just said,
Yeah.
if there's multiple funding,
we have applied for some mini grants through like Walmart, ShopRite, and they give us usually goods, not money. We don't have any other large grants that we get. Everything we do is through fundraising.
you're not limiting your budget just to this.
No, we're going to be about half our budget.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll make that happen. Any other questions for us?
No.
All right, thank you very much, Dana. Good
Thank
seeing
you.
you. All right, next, we have representatives from the Vertical Church. Please come to the podium. Hello, sir, how are you? State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ron Sells. Address is 225 Malloy Road, West Haven.
Okay, so our first question to you is, please provide a brief overview of your organization and its mission as it relates to this funding request.
So our mission as it relates to this funding request is our Dream Center. Dream Center encompasses 6 different programs. 2 of those starting out with our food and clothing, which will meet the basic needs of our community, and then there are wraparound services, which include employment, finance, health net, and recovery services that will encompass all of them as we begin to go forward and identify the needs of the individuals coming in.
Okay. All right. And how are the funds that you're requesting tonight be spent?
So there's 2 aspects of it. One, both, the first one being the infrastructure of the building, which is at Center Street, and that will be outfitting the building, shelving, And the approach in that, it's not just a pantry giveaway pantry, it's a very unique style pantry, which is set up as a store. The individuals actually will come in, there's an intake process, and they'll shop with points. Everything will have a point value, so that begins to provide dignity and will begin to help them with budgeting. The second portion of that is operating cost. So it's a two-pronged approach with that.
So I had the opportunity to visit the site, and in my estimation, based on the work that needs to be done to renovate, to make it suitable for the public use, right? I'm thinking about 150,000. Is that what you're?
I think you're a little high, but
Okay.
for the, to get it open and to fit it out.
Yeah, I mean,
we're
that's all your
probably-
mechanicals, your sheet rock, your
Right.
flooring.
So we're a little lower than that. So is there a direct question as far as the funds with that?
So would you want the funds to come to you to facilitate remodeling that to get it open? Is that the first?
A portion of it, yes.
Okay.
A portion of
So-
it is for remodeling
so-
and,
All right, so just to say, for example, it costs 80,000 to open the doors, okay? Then any additional funds would go towards, after the infrastructure, would go towards operating your site?
for operating costs, yes.
Okay, and what are those? Tell us about
So
those.
operating costs and that's what assists with the longevity of the program, through the first 18 months of it, along with the funds that we have currently raised for the program.
And tell us specifically what those costs would be.
So costs be rent, utilities, just the upkeep of the building, that would go along with what we're also contributing to the program.
And how many people can you service because of these funds?
Total, so let me take a step back. So currently, the Dream Center is operating, just was not in a physical building within the center. So it's been, the concept was put together 2 years ago. Our teams began to get ready, they presented everything, and started to take effect just about a year ago. So
And that's at the Vertical Church right now?
That's at Vertical Church. So we currently operate, our pantry there, our clothing closet, and all of our other wraparound services. So currently, we're, just through food insecurity alone, we'd operate anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 for the year. That's what we've serviced.
And you think that this will increase when you open up the Center Street?
Well, what it does is allow us to go into the heart now of the community and collaborate along with the other other organizations that we have been over the past several years.
How can you guarantee that these funds will be limited to West Haven residents?
Because we have been committed for the last 5 years of servicing West Haven. Our programs currently, that's what they do, service West Haven.
Okay. All right, you guys, any members have questions? Go ahead, Mike.
If awarded the $100,000 or a portion thereof, once this program is over, would you be able to sustain the increased activity?
Yes, because we will continue to fundraise through different grants, which we have done over the last several years.
Okay,
So we're also
it would be
contributing.
sustainable in the future?
That is correct.
Okay.
Go ahead, Greg.
Could you explain more about this point system?
So the point system, so let's say, we have in there, in the pantry, you have your non-perishable items and your perishable items, say a can of tomato soup, it would be 1 point. So each individual, they get a card that has, on a monthly basis, loaded with points, and that's how they shop from so those points they have the same value as a price in a retail store.
How do they acquire those points?
That's our intake process. So once they sign up and, so it will range from 50 points a month to 100 points a month.
Who sets the point values?
The team, our intake team. Based on the need. It's based on the need after going through the intake process with the individuals.
Is there a form for the intake that gives a scoring to those people that are coming in?
It's your basic form.
Yeah.
It's your basic form of that, their basic information.
I'm still confused as to how they, some people get 50 points, some people gets 100 points, and,
So some of that is also, like I said, based on their need, it will be also based on the income levels as well.
so when people come in, they actually have to show proof of what they're earning, or,
Not necessarily. No, it will be on an honor system, just currently as we're doing it now.
okay.
But shouldn't it be equal, though, in that form that you're describing?
Of the point system?
Yes.
It's a possibility. It's something we can work out. It's something that we're working on as far as that intake goes and how it equates to the individuals coming in.
And your position in the vertical church
I'm the
is?
Director of Outreach. So you were expecting, Pastor Paul was supposed to speak tonight. Unfortunately, he's out with an illness.
Oh, no, we're very happy to have you here, no problem.
Yeah, he contracted COVID.
No one's complaining, no one's complaining.
I handle most of the logistics of what we do.
These guys are always unhappy, don't worry.
No, that's all right.
It's not you. Don't worry.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
All the applicants have to be residents of West Haven?
That is correct.
How do you plan to record all of this to justify us giving you this money? It has to be recorded, it has to be justifiable.
So we currently use a recording system through the different programs that we run. We've been involved, our outreach program has been up for over 10 years. So we're used to reporting, from a federal level, from an intake standpoint.
So you know how important it is to
Exactly.
justify everything that we're doing here.
That is correct, sir. Right now we're the actual fiduciary for the Farms to Family program that takes place, and we supply the pantries in our local community now, and that's federally funded.
We have you have your vertical church giving a pantry. We have our own West Haven pantry system. Are we flooding the area? And now we're doing it with the schools.
I don't think we're flooding the area because the need is great. I think all of us together in collaboration, which we have done over the last several years, we have worked with the schools, we've worked with your housing authority, so I don't think we're flooding it. Listen, so we do a food, distribution every other Tuesday, and we don't come close to meeting the needs. Just at our distribution, and that's servicing almost 500 people.
But how do we know that an individual is not, will go to your pantry, turn around and go to the West Haven pantry, and,
Well, listen, he doesn't know that, no one knows that, and that's a problem that may exist on all pantries, you know what I'm saying? The bottom line is, he has an organization that's been around for many years, and I think what may give you some comfort is any monies that we appropriate are not going to be given in the form of a check, it's going to be given in the form of reimbursement. So you're going to spend those monies first, give us a bill, and then we reimburse you. That's how that works. And that's how you have control over it, recording. I'm also going to ask for a letter from UHY, Jack, just a one-pager that says, here's what we expect these organizations to produce for record keeping. I don't want any issues, after this.
And Mr. Chair, what we normally do is to hold an orientation meeting with the project owner to discuss all of those requirements, that we're going to want to see for monitoring, and then we do follow up in writing just to restate the case. And some of that information that you've just described would also be described in the contract between the city and the organization so that they're aware, and it's in the legally binding contract that they will produce that information.
Okay, so that's your department. All right, so what he's describing is a reimbursement program up to X amount of dollars, a contract between your organization and the city written by our attorney, some recording standards, and a meeting to introduce to you what those standards are and how they have to be followed.
That's fine.
Pretty standard, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we've done it before.
All right, so I feel good about that. How about you guys? Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just educating me, that's requisite in these programs, the protocols for them to expend the funds and only be reimbursed?
Well, I think yes, because in order for us to control that the funds are being spent the way they were designed to be spent, it has to be a reimbursement. If we just send a check out there and say, okay, come back to us with the information 6 months from now, that's a real problem for us.
Well, I would just say, if it's an infrastructure improvement, which is Program D, again, if he doesn't seem to be balking, so I'm wondering if he has $100,000 up front to fund the project. But, I would think that organizations such as this, wouldn't be flush with cash and have the ability to outlay the funds and wait for a reimbursement.
Well, it wouldn't be all at once. I mean,
Yeah.
we could literally reimburse him $5,000 a month or $10,000, whatever his expenses are. I'm not suggesting he spent $100,000, whatever the number is, and then gets reimbursed. Almost like a construction job, you would bring us invoices every 2 weeks, and we would cut you a check as a reimbursement. I think that's the best way to control it.
Okay.
And we'd have the accountants and the attorneys looking those over to make sure. What I don't want to do is have an open door, and this is no reflection on anybody in this room, where a check is given, we lose track of that check, and then somebody says, oh, we're not doing that anymore. Where's our money? You know what I'm saying? So I think the only way to do it is a reimbursement, in my opinion.
And last question would be, is that, so there's 2 programs, or 4 programs. So there's an infrastructure improvement program of $100,000 for, it sounds like setting up the store, which that would qualify for. There's another $100,000 set aside for general services, which would, fit into what you're talking about operating costs. So is the intent of Vertical Church to apply for both programs?
Well, he doesn't actually know the answer to that question. He hasn't seen the resolution.
Right.
I think what we're going to do is going to do these interviews tonight, go into executive session. We may ask the council to reorganize these funds to better suit. I mean, these were written before anybody knew what the needs were out there. So I think we need to get their needs, have a discussion in executive session, come out, vote, and then ask the council to make changes if needed. That's how I'm thinking about it. Anybody else?
One more question, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Just going back to the point system, because I guess I am a little bit confused.
Okay.
After listening to some of the comments. With the point system, I would love to see some kind of standard point system, just to ensure that there's equal access to the program.
So to answer that question, we've always provided equal access to our programs. No one leaves short of anything. I hope that
I mean, that
answers
would
it
be
for you.
my only concern is that everybody would have the same access to the program.
Everyone does, currently does.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Any questions?
Qualify that, though.
What do you mean, can I qualify it? Through our current distributions in our pantry, everyone who,
That is actually happening.
how can I prove it? Because I'm the one that sets it up and operates the system.
Yeah, but you're getting money from us, the city, okay? We need to know that it's being done properly and equally.
Well, the contract between the city and his organization will prove that. We'll stand to that. And it's a reimbursement program. You really can't get much safer than that, in my opinion.
I think it would, probably ease some, concern and answer some questions. When you say they use a point system, I presume that there's some type of formula that you use to do so. And if you would share that, perhaps it would put.
We're working on the exact formula right now. But what I can tell you, you're more than welcome to come up, see our distributions currently, and see that there's equal access to everything. And that would answer your question, and we do those every other Tuesday on site and every other Saturday on site in form of a farmer's market. So it's, the individuals come up and shop on their own. They have access to the program.
Within that formula, do you need to count number of household, how many individuals in a household? Because you say some get maybe 50, some get X amount. Do you have like a sliding scale or something, or
So
family of 10, let's say they get 80?
The exact logistics of that we're still working that out, because it is a new program from what we currently do. Currently now you just come and shop. And there is no, so it's whatever you want right now.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to make that as part of the program of beginning to take people to their next step, which has become budgeting to get you past the food insecurity. That's where the point system comes up. So it's also a teaching tool as well. It's part of the program.
And obviously, by the time we do this contract, we'll see that.
All that will be, that will be all ironed out. We're just working through some systems, meaning IT systems that will record everything for us, and how that card will go subject back to the point systems and our inventory of items.
Okay.
So that's where some of the holdup is on how the scale goes.
How do you publicize this? How does the people in West Haven know about it?
We have our own, it's through Facebook, through the Housing Authority. It's out there and it has been for the last.
I've never heard of it.
Of a food distribution program?
Right.
I apologize, but it's everywhere. It's on the patch. It's on the What's Happening Now, West Haven. It's through Connecticut Food Share, which is one of our biggest.
Living the church community?
I'm sorry?
Is it just through the church community?
No, sir.
That they're aware of this?
No, because we take it everywhere within the city. We've done food distributions from Glade Street to Meadowbrook to Senior Housing Authority. We've been all throughout the city.
The fact that you're building an office outside of the church in downtown West Haven, that's open to everybody, sort of.
That is correct, yes. It was to bring the need right into the heart of the city.
I just have one question. You said it's a new program, right? When did you initiate this program?
New in respect to what? Because the program isn't new. We've been operating. This is just an extension of what we've been doing.
Okay. So when did you initiate this extension?
So that's currently, the Dream Center portion is currently being worked out right now. We've signed a lease. We're in the building, about to start. We're several months away from opening up. So it's been over 10 years. The program's been in existence.
One last question. Will you continue to operate this at the church as well as the location on Center, or will Center Street be?
Some aspects of it. That's like, so we get emergency calls every day. So we'll either, whether it's at the church, there's still a small pantry there, and there'll be one, at Center Street as well.
Okay.
So and we'll still continue doing our mobile distributions as we have been.
All right, do you have anybody else?
No, I think you've been beaten up pretty enough, pretty much, so, we appreciate what you're doing.
Okay.
Any questions for us, sir?
No.
All right.
I'm good.
We appreciate your time tonight, and we will talk about this in executive session and get back to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the fish. Hello.
Hello. Tough committee tonight.
I know. Well, if you notice, it's mostly this side of the table. I think I have Iris move over here to the friendly side, and it's these guys that are the problem.
Can I just say something real quick about
Yes.
Vertical Church?
Yeah.
I know them, we work with them.
Yeah, of course you do,
With
yeah.
their distributions and everything, and I vouch for them. Paul and his team and Ken, they do great work.
Good.
And we work together a lot to make sure that all of our food insecure neighbors are getting fed.
Excellent. Thank you for
Okay?
that.
So there's all of the pantries that are around West Haven and everyone else, trust me, they're needed right now,
Sure.
like crazy.
And they're a big player in this, right?
They are.
Okay.
They are.
Tell
We're
us
all
your-
part of a big network. It's called the Coordinated Food Assistance Network, where all pantries get together once a month, and talk about what the needs of the community are, what we can do better, what we can do differently to make sure that
There you go.
people that are food insecure are getting the food that they need.
You can meet at Dwight's house next month. He's going to...
Okay.
All right, tell us your name.
Anyway, my name's Jill Meyerhoff. I'm the executive director at Fish of Greater New Haven.
Address and name. Go ahead.
Our address,
Yes.
you're not going to like this, but we're at 269 Peck Street in New Haven. But
Okay,
we
good.
do serve the West Haven community.
And tell us your first name again.
Jill.
Joe, okay.
And this is Phyllis Capuccio. She is my grant writer.
Okay. Hi,
Same
Phyllis.
address from Fish.
Same address.
Oh, very good. Okay, excellent. All right, so, first question. Please provide a brief overview of your organization and its mission. Go ahead.
So our mission is to deliver food to people that are homebound and that are food insecure. We use a vulnerability index to make sure that they hit the correct marks. I hate using that word, but we use a vulnerability index to make sure that they do fit into our program and we can help them with their needs.
So these are people who cannot leave their house.
Correct.
So if the pantry is 4 blocks from their house and they have food insecurity, they literally cannot get to that pantry to get that food.
Correct. So these,
And what
right.
kind of ailments do we have here? What are we talking about?
People that are paralyzed, people that have COVID and still have COVID, people that are disabled, people that have had operations, and can't get out of the house. What other whatever homebound disability, elderly, handicap.
Do you have people that come into the program and then leave when they get better? I know most of them probably stay, but are there people that come in and out?
Most of them probably stay, but there are some people that do come in and out, and they'll tell us, that maybe something has changed. They're able-bodied now and not disabled. Maybe they had an operation, can't get out of the house, or they've had cancer treatment, can't get out of the house, and then they can. Unfortunately, recently we had to turn away somebody in West Haven from West Haven High School, somebody that was getting operated on, and unfortunately we couldn't help them, and I felt really, really bad. But it was at a time where we were at capacity and we could not just take any more clients in.
How many people are you serving now?
Right now, we're serving over 800 households a month, and 200 of them live in West Haven.
200?
Yep.
And
we'd love to be able to double that amount if we could.
so the funds that you're requesting tonight, specifically, how would you spend those funds?
We're in desperate need of a new freezer and a new refrigerator, and we're also in desperate need of some new shelving to be able to stock the pantries more, so we would spend that money on that. And believe it or not, the cost of brown paper bags have gone up tremendously, and we go through brown paper bags like crazy because that's how we deliver our foods. That's how we pack our foods and deliver it. Our households, a minimum of 3 people in a household, get 3 to 4 bags of groceries. They get canned items, they get shelf-stable items, they get frozen meat, and they get fresh produce, once a month delivery. And that food will last them about 2.5 to 3 weeks. It's enough food for them to make meals with.
How are you transporting the food to their house?
So we have volunteers that come in each and every day to make the deliveries for us. We have volunteers that come in and pack the groceries. Unfortunately, when we don't have enough volunteers that show up, then it's the staff that's on site that's packing the deliveries. And if we don't have if we don't have enough volunteer drivers as well, it's the staff that's going out and making the deliveries to make sure that they're getting their food.
And Fish does not have any vehicles of their own?
We did have a vehicle. We were going through some hard financial times this past year, so we had to sell the vehicle in order to be able to keep the doors open, to keep the doors open to serve our community. So we don't have a vehicle right now.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, it's okay.
In the budget that we originally submitted, we did put expenses in to run that van, but that was way back in March, and
You
so
sold the
in the
van.
meantime.
Yeah, we just sold it.
Right, so we'd want to repurpose that portion of the money.
How many people, you mentioned doubling, so right now you're servicing 800, 200 in West Haven. How many more people do you think require your services in West Haven?
That's hard to know. I can tell you right now is we haven't been taking on any more clients because we didn't have the money to do that, but we get calls each and every day. Either it's self-referrals or referrals from the VNA, from Cornell Scott Hill Health Center. Like I said, even from one of the schools, we had gotten a referral. Somebody's grandmother was getting an operation, lives by herself.
You're at capacity.
Yep, and we had to pass on it.
Yeah. Just to clarify, when we say 800, we mean 800 households. So that would be considerably more people
Right,
It's
depending on
probably-
how many people live in a household.
in each of the
So,
households.
so it literally could be 2,400 people that you're
Yes.
servicing?
Yeah, and actually, it's pretty much, the last count we had was closer to 2,200, somewhere around 2,200. It
Right.
fluctuates, but that was the last time I saw the
Yeah, and
database.
depending on the amount of people in the household, that's the amount of food that we'll give them to make sure that there's enough for each and every one that's living in that house.
So the infrastructure is sort of, the next question is, how can you guarantee that these funds will be limited to West Haven residents? And I think the infrastructure part of it is easy. A freezer, a refrigerator, shelving is going to help West Haven residents.
Right.
But beyond that, how would you be able to prove to us in your quarterly reporting, so to speak, that you're serving more West Haven residents?
We would have to keep a strict log. We wouldn't be able to give you the names and addresses,
Of course not,
obviously,
right, yeah.
because of privacy, but we would have to keep
Yeah.
a different log of all of the people that are being referred to us, and maybe from which organization that they're coming from, to be able to verify and show you that they are from, in fact, from West Haven.
All right, what questions do we have from the members? Go ahead, Mike.
Right now, you're saying that 200 out of the 800 households are from West Haven. Do you feel from referrals that there is that much more need from West Haven that you could, do you think you would double that, or another 50 households? What do you think with the budget requested, how many more West Haven households would you be able to service?
So I could say right now, we're probably sitting on about 20 to 25 West Haven referrals just from the VNA alone. And the rest of it, I don't know. We would probably have to do some outreach, to the other organizations in West Haven to see if there are any other referrals or any other people or, that live in West Haven.
Is it safe to say, and I don't know if this is true or not, getting the food is not the actual issue.
Correct.
The infrastructure and delivering the food and the manpower is the issue.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The food's there. It's just
food-
connecting it to the people who need it most,
Yeah, you're right.
and the tools that you need to do that.
Yep.
So we would propose funds to give you those tools.
Yes, absolutely.
General operating support.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception of that. I mean, it seems, talking to all these organizations, the food is available, but packaging it, delivering it, educating people, finding the people is a real challenge.
Yes,
Exactly.
yep. Yep, the food is there, and the food is available.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
I guess one question
Sure.
would be, what would be your immediate plan to ascertain, like, your own vehicle for delivery? Because, half the time you say you have volunteers, right? If you can't get any volunteers, how do you get those?
We're using our personal cars to do the deliveries.
Right.
And if it's myself, I'm not reimbursing myself for mileage,
Exactly.
but staff member, I'm reimbursing them for mileage for them to use their personal car.
So do you think it would best serve if you request funding for I guess, a vehicle for that need per se?
That would be great.
And that would free up operation costs, because you wouldn't be paying by the mile.
Correct.
So Susie is volunteering her time, but you're reimbursing her for use of her car.
No, the volunteers are not getting reimbursed. If a staff member,
staff member, okay. That makes
member
sense,
needs
okay.
to go out and make that delivery.
How many staff people do you have on payroll?
Right now, 5.
All right. Ken, you had a question?
Well, that was my question about staff.
Yeah, 5.
Current staff, because there was a lot of talk about volunteers.
Question, where do you receive the majority of your funding now?
Private funding,
Private donations?
doing this, yeah,
Quite a
yep. Yep, donations, writing grants, piecemealing it together to make it all work, to
And
help
do you-
keep
do
the
you
doors
take-
open.
Do you take donations of foodstuffs from grocery stores and places like that?
Yeah, and we have a lot of churches that do food drives for us. So for instance, now we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. So I've just had a lot of churches reach out, about what they can do.
Yeah, so there's a turkey shortage,
Yeah.
Well, there's a turkey
Yeah,
shortage, just
every
like
year.
last year, and then we like to, do all the sides too, for
Which is fine, I
appliance
hate
and
turkey.
everything.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
literally
so-
2/3 of our budget is basically in-kind food, so
Yep.
the operating costs are the last 1/3.
All right, what are the questions? Anybody?
One other quick one, the city of New Haven. Are the majority of your households out of New Haven? And are you in discussions with the city of New Haven as part of their ARPA distributions?
Yep, City of
Yes.
New Haven, Hamden, and
I think
West
he's
Haven.
in West Haven, right.
Any progress on Hampden or New Haven for funds?
City of New Haven, yes. We're getting $16,000 from them. Hamden,
We're definitely getting 10,000, but we're not really sure about the rest.
right, yeah.
So those two towns, you might get 26,000 total, but that's not going to be enough to
Yeah.
build your infrastructure, buy your vehicle.
Not anywhere
No,
near it, no.
nope.
Could I just ask a follow-up? How many households, if I could, out of the city of New Haven?
I would say, about 70, I think the last thing was 65 to 70%. So if we're at a 900, you're looking at.
I was just saying that because the city of New Haven with their ARPA are getting a lot more than city
Oh,
of
I
West
know.
Haven. And
We know.
And $16,000, and I know this is being recorded, but $16,000 doesn't, to me, seem like they're paying their fair share.
We know that too. We asked for a lot more.
Yes.
That's what we got.
All right.
So we'll
All right.
take what we can get.
Thank you, ladies. Any other questions, anybody? It was great meeting you tonight.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time. We
both
appreciate
very,
it.
very much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we have Westies Care, Mr. Felicio. Hello, sir, how are you?
Very well. Good evening.
We'd like to start we'll state your name and address.
Philip Licio, 104 Bluff Avenue, West Haven.
We'd like to start by asking you to give us a brief overview of your organization and its mission.
So, Westies Cares was started 12 years ago with my daughters, who were high school students at the time, as an outreach, as a collaborative outreach. What we actually do as a collaborative outreach is we bring in volunteers, mostly from the high school, sometimes from the University of New Haven, sometimes from Notre Dame High School, and we go out and work with other organizations. Right after we started that program, I was approached by somebody who was talking about the food insecurity in West Haven, which I think we're all getting an education on. I've been around long enough to have a little bit more knowledge of it now. I was at Wheat one time, and I recognized people I know with jobs, with houses, with mortgages, looking for food. This was in '08 when things were really bad. So right now, what we did, we went from working with volunteers and serving meals and doing blood drives, food drives, is we started a breakfast program across the street at the First Congregational Church of West Haven, which then went into a dinner program also on Tuesday evenings. And, for the record, as Ron said, we are all connected. My outreach is part of his outreach is part of my outreach on this particular food program.
Who's running the food program breakfast? Who's actually running that?
The breakfast is overseen by Westies Care and actually funded through money that we get donated. Our seed money came from the West Haven Rotary Club, which is also in connection with the Tuesday evening meal, which is in connection with Vertical Church.
Okay.
It's all collaboration, our feeding programs. So our mission now is the one statistic that'll blow your mind. I know a guy that's working at the school. 80 kids registered in 1 week. New kids in West Haven in 1 week. We are being inundated with people from other parts of the country and the world because Connecticut is known for a place that you can find a haven and get needs. The needs are, I heard the one comment about too many food banks. There can't be too much food. There's too many people that need food, and people with good, there are working poor that we're dealing with now. So my focus when I actually watched some of the meetings over the months was to realize I gave you a budget of what I was doing over the years, and I changed it to the fact that what I think you're looking for, more of an infrastructure and, of course, food supplies. So we are in a collaboration now with Our Lady of Victory to try to put together an emergency food pantry, and we would work with Wheat in collaboration for record keeping and for not, you guys mentioned something about what if they go to your food bank and then that food bank and that food bank. You can do it a week, twice a month. That's not a lot of food if you're, So we would be in their system, they'd be in our system, and we would track who our people are at our food pantry. But we also don't say anything. We are a faith-based organization. We do not say no to anybody. But you have to track because there's restrictions on what you can do with people and what you can give them.
Tell me, next week, what is happening in your organization next week? What's actually happening?
Well, right now, they're just finishing up. There'll be anywhere between 50 and 80 clients eating next door at the First Congregational Church.
That's a
in West
dinner?
Haven. That's every Tuesday night.
All right, so you have 50 to 80 people come, they have a dinner. Who prepares the food?
Volunteers.
Okay. And where do you get the food?
Connecticut Food Share and donations.
And where is the food stored?
We have a smaller food pantry. This is, again, a collaboration. A lot of it's with Ron and Vertical Church.
Is Vertical Church storing your food?
In a lot of cases, they are, yeah.
Okay. And who are these 50 to 80 people? Are they just people that just walk in? Are they vetted?
No, again, faith-based. There's no, so you might get New Haven people.
No, we don't care about that.
Yeah.
I'm asking, are we qualifying them, or are we just opening the doors?
It's open to anybody. We actually have our church people come because they come for fellowship. So it's an open door policy, yeah.
All right. And then, so they have this meal. Some volunteer cleans up.
Yep.
And then you're saying there's a breakfast?
The breakfast is Tuesday mornings, yep.
And the dinner's Tuesday night?
Right. And then there's another dinner on Thursday nights at another church, which is part of the collaboration as well. Yeah.
So how would you spend funds if awarded the funds? How would you spend them?
So I broke it down between food and supplies and what we're trying to do with Our Lady of Victory. When Our Lady of Victory sold their big parcel of land and closed their church, they lost Beacon on the Hill. Beacon on the Hill had the diaper bank, they had the food bank, and they had the clothing store. So we all got together as church leaders. Vertical took the clothing outreach, which is an amazing thing they're doing there. We took the food bank at my church, and the diaper bank went to New Life Church on Jonesville Road. So we made sure all those things were still in place. But we see that there's a need now with Our Lady of Victory and where we're located to expand upon. Ours is going to be an emergency food bank in the sense that if you pick up the phone and call us, we're going to open the door and give you the food.
When you say us, though, who, I'm trying to give, it is you and who else?
West East Care is going to collaborate with Deacon D and the parish at Our Lady of Victory.
And are you a 501c3?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a confirmation of that? Did you provide that when you did your
We did.
application?
I emailed everything to Doug again just the other day, but I have it with me if you want me.
Doug's about 2 months behind on his emails.
I talked to him personally, so I think he has it.
Do you have any employees? Any employees?
This is one thing I'd like to talk about.
Sure.
Nobody gets a dime in our organization. It's all volunteers. As a matter of fact, if you're on my board, it's going to cost you to be on the board because you got to put skin in the game to help out. Yeah.
How many people on the board?
5.
I think I saw the names.
Yep.
All right. You mentioned you'd buy food with the money? Is that what you're...
The thing about and you brought up a great point, Ken. The food share program is outstanding. It's nationwide. And again, with Vertical Church, you couldn't imagine how much food they put out during the pandemic, and we worked with them a little bit. Supplies do not come with the food.
Right.
You need to package food. You need to ship food. You need bag food, like the one lady just mentioned.
The tools we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
So those kind of things are hard to come by, and they don't get donated by the food share. And not everything comes from food share. A lot of proteins and a lot of other things are just not available to everybody.
And you could adhere to a reimbursement program?
Absolutely.
And how many people do you think you could serve in addition to the 50 to 80 you're serving now?
So it's an estimate. We're going to be at the parish where St. John Vianney is. They're going to give us a space there to build out this project. And we know by the Purple Pantry program, that this Purple Pantry program, if you don't know what it is, it's an outdoor pantry which you can just help yourself and take the food. That's emptied 2 or 3 times a day. It's a separate issue. We are going to be right next to senior housing and Section 8 housing people, and we anticipate that we're going to be very, very busy. So we're doing 500-600 people a month now with our food program. I think that's going to at least double.
So, this is the first I'm hearing about this. So you're suggesting that you're going to create a satellite office out of a church?
Right.
And actually create a food pantry?
Right.
Okay. And you're suggesting the funds, if awarded, would be used for that?
I itemized it. A lot of it is equipment and renovating the space for that equipment. We had the city coming in to inspect the space so that we can know what we need. And the good news
That's
is...
completely separate from the dinners and the breakfast?
It is.
So this is money specifically for the pantry?
Not all of it. There's other programs. I broke it down to being, again, these are estimates. I don't know what renovations and upgrades will cost.
Page 49 is your application, right? 49.
So the one-time purchases and the monthly expenses are related to the pantry, and then you have the annual expense below that.
Yes.
And so, where's the physical location of the pantry going to be?
Our Lady of Victory on, I think it's 300 Captain Thomas Boulevard.
There's a church there now, obviously.
Yeah, no, I just was curious, the church is going to charge you $500 a month rent?
Well,
Catholic church,
that's
obviously.
one of the reasons why we choose the location. I'm not going to go with if I have to have overhead, I'm not going to open a store there. No, it's got to be free. We're all volunteers.
But it's not free. It says 500, the lease is 500.
You're looking at, I revised everything.
Okay.
I'm sorry if you didn't get it, but after watching your meetings,
I print this on Thursday. I can't, FOI, I have to notice everything 4 days in advance. So what does the revised one say, Doug?
Ken, you want me to give you my copy?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll just take a look at it. Yeah.
No, because what I did was I
watched
every meeting, and I said, you know what, I didn't fill up the paperwork properly.
Listen, I don't think that's the case. I think we just put something out quickly, and that's why we're having these interviews to make up for those. Thank you, sir.
But what I did was I decided that infrastructure was important to sustain what we're doing. The good news to this is that I certainly have interested parties that are going to carry this on after these funds are expended. Townfair Tire Foundation, Watson Food Company, the Rotary Club, which we've worked with for years and years and years. I know I'm going to get my funding to keep the program going. We've been around since 2015.
Ken, would there be a chance of you just reading off what's on that?
Yeah, I could bring it back. I'll read it off.
Just so we know what we're...
Well, you know what I'll do? I'll read it off in executive session. You guys look at it real quick in the meantime.
I have just a quick question, too. Now, I haven't seen the updated budget, which we'll look at. Are you still, with this new program or expanded program, are you still going to be partnering with Vertical Church? And I think Our Lady of Victory then would be a partner also?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. Our churches, we have great pastors. Our pastor across the street, Pastor Carl, has been there 3 or 4 years now. We are collaborating like we should. That's how WHEAT was founded, by the way, by a bunch of pastors that got together and said, we have to answer the call. So we're working together, but we are a separate 501. That's how we keep it legal with funding, it goes through West East Care, the programs that we do.
So with this, renovations and upgrades, 30,000, and freezers, refrigerators, are you thinking that would be at the Our Lady of Victory location? And they have enough room and they're agreeable to do that there?
I got another meeting scheduled with the pastor about, but the number is a number we just throw out there. I mean, it could be 20, it could be 10.
Yeah.
But I had to come up with a number. So if we're working on the reimbursement thing, I only get what I spend. So I might not spend that much money.
And with this, it says funding school system, food banks, 10,000. Would that be, is that the same program that we had here tonight?
So interesting, because Deacon Dean and I worked with Dana a little bit with what she's doing at the high school. And by the way, anything you can give them, they need it, obviously. So when I wrote my proposal, I had in mind the fact that there are, Bailey's got one. I work with the West Haven Family Resource Center over at Savin Rock. These kids come to school with no shoes on, so we've been funding programs for them. They're a federal funding thing, but we've been giving them checks to help fill in their budget. So I put that in a line item as a way to help where it's needed, but, you know.
Phil, so you have this checkbook, right, that you're funding, okay. How much money passes through that checkbook in 12 months?
Oh, we're, I don't know, 50, 60,000, we're small.
Okay.
We're small. Don't forget, we're collaboration.
Yeah,
You do that, and then you got
yeah.
my church's collaboration, Deacon Dean's collaboration. Yeah, my budget's very
And,
small.
and I think the next question is an easy one. It says, how can you guarantee these funds will be limited to West Haven? It's all about West Haven, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for Phil? Anybody?
I just, one other, I know you had mentioned the senior center. I know you, if it's going to be at Our Lady of Victory, you've got Surfside right next
Yep.
door, but I do know that we're going to be listening or hearing for a proposal from Savin Rock Communities.
Yep.
So would that be,
You know, I wasn't aware, I saw them on the agenda, wasn't aware that they were part of that. From our standpoint, the way we operate with our organization is, we do realize that they're just going to say, hey, you know, I need a bag of food, like they do at the church, and we're going to take care of that. So you'll find that we all know each other, because we're all doing the same thing. And so, I don't know what their ask is, but yeah, I would certainly probably end up collaborating with them. That's what we did during the pandemic. I mean,
I can't say enough about what your organization did with Vertical Church during the pandemic, with all the volunteers. Everybody really worked well together.
Well, a lot of people from the city rolled up their sleeves as well. That was a great, unbelievable outreach. And it's still going on, because the need is
It
still
was
there.
actually impressive. It really
Yeah.
was.
Very, very much so.
Excuse me, Phil. My question that I have is, you increase your budget with getting this money, and it stops in 2 years. And you have now brought all these people in expecting to get a dinner. After the 2 years is up, how do you expect to pay for all of this?
Well, I'll start with what I always believe in, and that's faith. But we started in 2015 with a checkbook with $5,000 in it, and the program's been going on ever since. It's a collaboration with churches and citizens and good people. I don't know if Ron's still here. I don't want to tell you how many checks Ron's written for me. He says, Phil, whatever you need it for. So in other words, we have built a reputation of people that do the right thing. We don't have any problem raising money. But when you're talking about building on, I've never asked for this much. This is a lot of money for me to even ask for. But when I saw what you wanted to do with it in Our Lady of Victory's partnership, and just to that point, Our Lady of Victory, when they sold their property, I don't want to put this on the record, that money went into their checkbook, into outreach. So they're doing well, and they want to do more with their outreach. So that's where we came in to say, let's partner on this then.
All right, we've got another person to interview. Any last questions, anybody? We're good? Phil, any questions for us?
No, I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate all the hard work you guys do.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for your time
Thank you. Have a
tonight.
great day.
Okay, next, we've got Savin Rock Communities. Anyone here from Savin Rock Communities? Hi, ladies, how are you?
Great.
Good. Give us your name and your address.
Yes, Yolanda Russell,
And Megan Goldie?
15 Glade Street, West Haven.
I'm sorry, didn't catch that.
My person taking the notes needs to hear that again. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yolanda Russell,
And Megan Goldie, 15 Glade Street in West Haven.
Okay, tell us a brief overview of the organization and its mission.
Okay. Savin Rock Community's mission is to provide and enhance affordable living opportunities for West Haven individuals and families with the greatest housing needs. And this includes elderly and disabled, previously homeless veterans, and our families all with low incomes.
And tell us how you do that.
We provide low-income housing. It's rent based on your income. We have 6 properties throughout the city.
All right. So tell us, so who qualifies for this low-income housing?
There's income limits.
Yep.
We have our senior sites, which is Surfside, Morrissey Manor, Union School, John Preet. You have to be 62 or collecting disability. We have our Spring Heights Housing Complex on Glade Street, which is all families. And we have Meadow Landing, which is,
So this is the Housing Authority, right?
Yes.
Okay, now I understand. Okay.
yes. Just a new name.
Okay.
yes.
So does the Housing Authority, Jack, does the federally funded Housing Authority, can they apply for funds?
We are a 501c3.
501c3, okay.
Yeah, that's, and actually, many localities are using their ARPA funds to support affordable housing projects.
Perfect. If given these funds, what would you spend it on that would increase what you're doing?
So I'm their resident service coordinator. So I service the 4 public senior housing sites, which consist of seniors, disabled, and the vet population. With my 7 years of being there on site, we have tried to really work with, different organizations throughout the city of West Haven. However, it's become a little cumbersome. We realized within the past 2 years, of course, definitely during COVID, that a lot of our residents are truly, truly in need. And I think that has been mentioned several times here today when it comes to food insecurity. Right now, we're going through a new infrastructure with our site, one of our sites, which is Surfside. And we realized during the moving process, we're moving residents from one apartment to the next, or we're moving them to another site, and we're realizing that a lot of residents are in need, not just, with food, but also with personal hygiene, just personal things that they need to take care of themselves.
And there's no housing money for that, right?
No.
Okay. HUD's not giving you money for that?
No.
So you want to create a program similar to what we heard the principal of the high schools for the residents of the buildings that you manage?
To really come out, because it gets difficult. There are times where I have reached out to Vertical Church, or I reach out to Fish, and, there's times where we just need it right then and there, where they can just walk out their apartment door and it's right there in their building to be offered to them. And that's where we're finding the struggle at with a lot of our sites. It's not readily available to give to them. A lot of our residents, the transportation is not readily available, so the lack of transportation is huge with a lot of our residents. Some of our residents are homebound, and there's times, yes, we do reach out to family members, but sometimes they're strapped as well. They don't have the funds that they need to even support their family members. So a lot of it is kind of like left on, like we play a lot of different roles there at the Housing Authority. So going home at night and knowing that your residents don't have what they need is daunting. So there's been times where we've come out of our pocket to go and get stuff for our own residents to make sure that they have.
So this need exists, and what are you doing, what'd you do for the last 3 months? Money-wise, any donations? Did you spend money? Do you have a separate checkbook? How does that work? You mentioned a 501c3?
Well, we are currently with Connecticut Food Bank. We get monthly distribution.
Okay.
We use Vertical Church quite often for distributions with the city.
Now with the Connecticut Food Bank, unfortunately, it's only for 60 and older. And of course, our population has grown tremendously with the disabled population here. So that's only covering a portion of our residents.
So what is your age group right now that you're dealing with?
Well, we have families with little children up to elderly.
Yeah, 90
So,
plus.
Yeah. We have it at all.
Connecticut Food Bank is now restricting distribution to 60 and older.
So we're connected with the Connecticut Food Share when it comes to their Connecticut non-perishable box.
Okay.
It's about a 25, 35-pound box, and it's only limited to those who are 60 and older. And you have, your income also plays a part, where I think it's now at around $1,400. So anything $1,400 and under, you're able to receive that food box.
This is just me thinking about this. I haven't discussed this, but I guess my question is it better to take an organization like Vertical Church that seems to be connected to everybody here, let them have special funding to service your needs, or do we take the funding and you create an organization on your own? I don't know what makes sense.
I think we can do both.
Yeah.
I think collaborating with Vertical Church is a great idea, but I also think we need to have some small pantry on site for when we need immediate assistance and something other than food.
Okay, that makes
Personal
sense. So
hygiene
you're
for
gonna
our
limit, so this is a
families.
small pantry on site for emergencies,
Yeah.
okay?
Yep.
And that pantry would have food, it would have
Personal hygiene
Personal
items.
hygiene.
okay, and then, so what do you think it would cost to fund that pantry every month?
Well, we would like to have several if possible. We have 6 sites.
So 6
We don't
or
need
6.
one at each site.
Okay.
We do have transportation that we can, distribute to our residents.
Would these funds be used to set the infrastructure in all these sites, or would it actually be for food product?
Both.
Both.
And, you know, it's a one-time bucket of money here, so what happens, so we give you the money, how do you sustain it after that money's gone?
Continue to stay connected with our local agencies, reach out for donations, which we have done in the past. There's been times where we have like senior breakfasts, just different things that we've done for our residents here in the community, and we reach out to different organizations and ask for donations. But then also really pounding our feet to the ground and really reaching out even more to local agencies and the Walmarts, and, you know, we have connections with some of these agencies already, so just, you know, asking them for more. You know, how can they contribute, knowing that we're gonna, if we have the opportunity to have this pantry, then we can ask for more.
Go back, so Savin Rock Communities has no employees, right? Everything's volunteer?
Oh, no,
No,
it's
it's the
employees.
housing
It's the housing authority.
That's the actual housing
The
authority.
Housing
Yes.
Authority reorganized under a 501c3, and they're kind of reinventing how they do business going forward.
So you would run the money through the Savin Rock Communities then?
Yes.
And in the last 12 months, how many funds have you spent for that purpose in that checkbook, roughly?
Due to COVID, we really haven't done much, besides our Connecticut, the vertical church distributions, right?
Connecticut Food Share, Vertical Church.
I think, as I understand it, this is seed money to get this program started.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have an existing program for this,
Okay.
besides what they're passing through others.
And I think during COVID, that's when we really seen the need.
And how much money do you think it would cost to open up these pantries?
I'm not sure, honestly. I know that, you know, as far as we need probably update refrigeration, we need shelving, maybe proper ventilation in some of our sites.
And to buy all the goods.
And the facility allows you to put these pantries in without paying any rent, or?
Yes.
And you can modify the facility to accept the pantry?
Yep.
And as far as the feds are concerned, that's okay? There's no issue there?
No issue. We have community rooms, we have kitchens.
Okay.
Extra closets.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes. My question is, you're saying you also help veterans. How? I'm saying, you know, a veteran, I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Okay.
And I don't see that they should be going to the VA. They shouldn't be getting it any other way.
Yeah, but I have to interject because a lot of the veterans, some veterans doesn't want to go to the VA. They rather.
That's their decision.
Yeah, that's their decision, true, but they also have their pride where they refuse to go to the VA or.
No such thing.
I understand.
No.
I understand. You're a vet, I'm a vet, so I understand. I also work at the VA, so I understand. I see it firsthand.
And I do have a lot of my vets, they feel comfortable at home knowing that they have.
They should be, then we should be going to the veterans and the government to provide this, not for a volunteer to be giving this. This should not, you're doing something that the government should be doing.
Well, the problem is this, they're running these programs, they're next to these people, they've got the trust of these people, and there's a need that they've identified, and this ARPA money is for that.
That identification of the problem should go to the government, not to someone else. If there's a
When was the last time the government ran anything successfully? What are you talking about?
There's thousands of programs in the country that are nonprofit.
Now, you know, I send money to every vet thing out there, and I'm paying, I don't know, a couple $100 a month sending money. Now, what's going on here is, it shouldn't be.
So Ron, if they opened up a pantry at each of their 6 locations or 4 of them, would that alleviate some of the things your organization's doing?
We would partner with them.
Right.
You know, and continue to help them sustain.
But it would give you an avenue to service more people.
Right.
Ken, I just had
Yeah.
a question too, because I'm a little bit familiar with the Savin Rock communities. I think, would it be your plan to put a pantry in Surfside, Morrissey Manor,
That's our
Union
goal.
School,
Yes.
John Preet, for the most part, because there is and to get back to Dwight, there is a large veteran population specifically at Surfside. And I've seen the need there firsthand, and if they were able to go down to a pantry without having to go out or call somebody, I think it would be really, really helpful. Now, my other question would be, if there was money available to set up these pantries under the new organization, of Savin Rock Communities, the 501c3, would there be some money that could be put forward to sustain such a project? Obviously, I think you would still want to partner with, Westie's Care and Vertical Church and all the others, but would there be some resources available from the 501c3 to help sustain this program going forward, so we don't do it for the next 4 years and then have it close?
Yeah, right.
Yes, we would be able to sustain it, hopefully with help from outside agencies.
Okay.
All right, what do you foresee, say, at Surfside, if there's a pantry there, would it be manned, would it be a couple days?
Absolutely, it
Okay,
would
well,
definitely be manned. So we have resident councils at all of our sites. They have presidents, vice presidents, treasurers, we have a full board, and they're very hands-on. Of course, it would also, for the most part, it'll be myself and my assistant who would oversee the pantries, but we will also allow the residents to have hands-on, because this is what they love to do. They love to participate, they love to volunteer, this is what they love. So they will be, pretty much the ones on the ground doing the work.
Okay.
I would like to know the bottom line cost to get this up and running. So that I would like to know.
Okay.
You can get back to us on that, right?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, if you could put together just a small little business plan, nothing crazy, tell us how many pantries you want to open, how many people it services, you think it'll service, tell us in writing the greatest needs that you see, and what you think the cost is for these pantries. All right? That would be, that'd be good.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Any questions for us?
Who will we submit this information to once we have the proposal?
Submit it to Doug.
Doug. Hi,
Yeah.
Doug.
And then call me when you send him the email.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask that the two council members here tonight, if they want to stay in executive session, we're going to kind of discuss this, it's up to you. But at this point, under the pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes, Section 1200C and 12210B24, review and discuss what is essentially an RFP, executive session. All right? All right, do I have a motion for from the ARPA Committee on the expenditure of the $400,000 given to us by the City Council for food insecurity, I guess?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we grant Vertical Church $150,000.
Up to.
Up to $150,000,
You write this down? Okay, yep.
with $25,000 of that being subawarded to Westies Care.
Okay.
$75,000 to Fish.
Up to?
Up to $75,000 to Fish.
Mhm.
Up to $75,000 to Savin Rock Communities. And
100.
100,000.
Up to 100,000.
Up to 100,000 for the West Haven School System Pantry Program.
Okay.
Seconded.
We want to add to that, though, right? So that's your motion, and we're going to add to it that it'll be a reimbursement program, okay, with few exceptions, right? And they'll be required to report to us quarterly.
Correct.
Okay, you got that? Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have Chris as a second. Any discussion?
So just as a point of order, because I'm not part of this voting committee, reporting quarterly, they're going to bring invoices in. You want them to wait 3 months? They can come in.
No. We'll work that out. What I'm thinking is every 2 weeks invoices, but we want a presentation
Quarterly
before the
report.
committee every 3 months.
Oh, you want a program status
Yeah,
report, but
exactly.
you're going to let them
Precisely.
bring
Of course,
invoices in,
every
get
2 weeks.
reimbursed
Yeah,
as
of course.
they see fit.
You
So
can-
they
and
will
we
come
got-
in like quarterly and brief us
Right.
as to their progress and what's going on.
Here, you got vertical 150. Okay, do the dollar amounts again,
150
please.
for vertical, up to 150 for vertical, 25 which is to be up to Westies Care out of the 150. Run through vertical. You've got up to 100,000 for the Board of Ed food pantries. You've got up to 75 for Fish to service West Haven residents and infrastructure. You've got up to 75 for communities, Savin Rock communities to create food pantries.
Sorry for this program.
Okay, so that should be the motion, right?
Right.
All right. Any other discussion?
And that should be.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'd like to make a second motion that each of the organizations that were awarded be subject to an MOU from our attorney and a meeting with UHY on the proper procedures for recording and categorizing their expenses. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
So I don't know if it matters or not, Mr. Attorney, but these are vendors in our eyes. So it's a contract, not an MOU, right?
Make it simple.
Does it matter?
I'll look at it. I mean, we're not contracting with them,
Well, we are.
I guess.
They're vendors.
All right.
That's how we would view any sub-award. That's how the state of Connecticut treats us. We're called a vendor. And we sign a contract with them for that grant.
I don't know, though, I would say a memorandum of understanding and again, I'm not an attorney, but that would, to me, make more sense, only because we are going to put forward what's expected of them and what they're gonna get in return.
I guess if, to answer that question, if they were getting the money up front, I think a contract would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Because you're reimbursing them,
It's an MOU, yeah.
if they don't behave well according to the MOU, they don't get the rest of the money.
Yeah, I will confess, my partner, Mark Malaspina, has been the one more on the contract side. I understand the
Yeah.
arguments on both sides. In general, I lean toward the view that simpler is better. Obviously, though, we have to comply with whatever
We had
the
something.
requirements are.
We had something similar come up with the fire districts, and we were told that it needed to be a contract, not an MOU, because it was money changing.
Yeah, I think we can resolve it offline, and certainly
Yeah.
we'll comply with whatever. I understand the point that
So
if
if
what's going on is invoices are being presented.
Perhaps it's
Contract
or MOU.
Written agreement. You want it's just written agreement and then let him.
All in
deal
favor,
with
say
it.
aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right. With that, Michael, you're the vice chair. I'm going to have you wrap this meeting up. I've got another engagement.
Okay.
All you really have to do is the 1583 invoice for Yantic River Consultants has to be passed. That's the guy that's going out doing flooding. And the broadband for the library, they're in the book. They have a description of how they spent almost $8,000. They're also asking for money for laptops.
Okay.
Okay, so he's got three motions.
Sure.
All right, you got everything you need? You got a book and everything? Jack, I'm gonna lose you because I'm taking off my phone, I'm not leaving it. Jack. We lost him already.
We lost Jack.
It was easy.
Took that other, yeah.
He's having a cold one.
All right, Doug, let's move on to Yantic River Consultants invoice. What page is that on?
61.
Page 61. Okay.
We should collect all the scores. I guess give them to Doug. I'll email you my notes on mine.
I'm gonna send mine by email. Ken, before you leave the Yantic River Consultants, you've reviewed that and everybody's looked at it?
Yes, sir.
All right. I would entertain a motion to approve that invoice number 1400001-01 in the amount of $1,583.75.
So moved.
We have a motion, is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mike,
Ken Ferris. All right, and then we're going to,
Layden?
West Haven Library. Reimbursement for digital navigator program in the amount of $8,579.64. Do we know what page that's on?
I think in the future, they should put the page on the full page here.
Yeah,
So
for
you
sure.
could just easily go through it.
Okay.
Which is those two?
So the laptop is on page 65. And the
65?
Yep. And that is corresponding with the quote MZSN 116. And then the West Haven Library reimbursement for the Navigator program is on page 68. I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of the laptop and for the invoice to the West Haven Library for the Digital Navigator program in the amount of $8,579.64, and the laptop for $5,805.20.
Motion to approve?
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Is there any other business before the committee here? Looks like... Looks like the letter on the boardwalk monitoring cameras, Ken can take us through that at the next meeting. So with that, I think that, does anybody else have any business before the committee? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
All right, is there a second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you very much.